Hello and welcome to Chesapeake Today. It's your Executive Director, David Loop.
And Candace Montgomery, Director of Life Enrichment.
Candace, as always, I'm excited because I now know who you've arranged for our special interview this week.
Yeah.
And these are becoming quite, I think, the talk.
Yeah.
People are seeing them and saying, "Ooh, who's going to be next?"
I know.
So we're not going to surprise you,
Yeah,
but it will be coming at the end of the segment. But hang on for that interview. But beyond that, we really, this past week, had some very lovely weather.
Oh, yeah.
I just think about some people being out, seeing the azaleas around
I know.
the back of the Gloucester area.
Gorgeous.
Really was. And so it's been just sort of it's that, I always call it in Ohio, I always call it the Indian summer.
Right.
These warm days that just really feel crisp. You love to breathe the air and how joyous.
It's a nice little, break to have some of that warm days before it gets too chilly. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
And it's it's always that sort of that bridge season of, can I still use some fall things? I got to put my Halloween stuff
know,
away, but I
that's
still
not-
want to keep a
yeah.
little bit of oranges out.
I know.
And then the first thing I heard November 1st was, Busch Gardens, and it's Christmas time.
yes.
And it's like, and I go over to Costco, and
It's- Yeah.
all the Christmas trees are
I
out.
know. Each year it's earlier and earlier. Or, a few weeks ago, my husband and I, we took Clint to Busch Gardens, and I could see some of the Christmas lights already on bushes but not lit. So they've been
So
prepping.
said they were doing this Halloween spooktacular
Right,
or whatever.
but they just have, their Christmas stuff not lit but out,
Yeah,
So, but it takes a long time to prepare those things. So,
Yeah. So, residents know of our woes with our Hampton fountain, and between pumps and then whatever, now potentially an electric conduit that's not right. I think we've been jokingly saying, I hope the men will take us up on it, that the maintenance guys just go out there and just put up the tree, put up
Yeah.
that light tree, and
That would be nice.
I mean, at least it will be visible and fun, and get our minds off the fact that fountain has been so erratic.
I know. It was so nice for those, couple of weeks we had
Yeah,
there.
it was. It's like,
It was beautiful.
So fascinating as it
know.
goes.
Yeah.
I know we're we've been keeping residents, and I talked last week at my coffee with, we're on the edge of getting the final approvals and some inspections over at the assisted living renovations. If you've not heard, the residents there, and it's all confirmed, it's now called Pier 57. It's their dining room. It's, restaurant, but I think it more of a dining room. Still may be naming that private area, but it's coming together, and a few more things. Through this week, we hope to get a formal handoff from Henderson, some final checkouts, and then getting it clean. And I know our team's so excited about starting to get it operational, experiencing some things with residents. And, with prayer and a little bit of knock on wood, we're hoping that the assisted living folks will enjoy that Thanksgiving meal in their new dining area. So fingers are crossed.
It's gorgeous over there. The colors, everything. It's just so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
And and again, we sometimes take for granted all that we've accomplished, and what things look so nice. But then we see that first and third floor, see a little bit more of healthcare, and we're close.
Yeah.
We're finally getting close to getting
yeah.
all things together, and that is good.
It'd be wonderful. Yeah.
So, program activity-wise, what's been happening?
Yeah, so just a recap from last week, we had our big trip to Enview Plantation. That was a place that residents had suggested. We've been really strategically focusing on the historical parts of the area. We've had some people who are from this area their whole life, but they said, hey, I've never been to this spot. So we've really been trying to listen to those, trip ideas and taking those into consideration. So that was one that we had last week. We also had the elder finance fraud. Those of you that missed that lecture, we did record it, so that's going to be available, and that'll be on Touchtown for your reference, just because that's a topic that we need all the education that we can get, especially, scams that are out there and that sort of thing. And then the Save the Date for Christmas at the Chesapeake came out, because that's on our heels for sure.
It will be here before you know it.
I
And that's
know.
December 10th.
10th, 3 to 6 p.m. Yeah.
That's second Saturday in December.
Yeah.
So we'll be excited. And I know there are probably opportunities for both volunteers.
Oh,
We need
yes.
help from residents.
Yes.
Help probably planning, doing some things in advance. So
Yeah, I
we're
have some
excited.
Touchtown slides out there for cookie elves.
Uh-huh.
You know, we need those bakers or,
Yeah.
you know, those folks to come out and help us sort. And that time is upon us, the
Yeah.
whole holiday season.
And I think for all of you, it's an opportunity to drop the hint to a granddaughter, to a daughter, to a son, a grandson,
Yeah.
saying, come and bake some cookies with grandma, with
Yes.
grandpa. And make it a little bit of an event activity so that, a
That's
week or
nice.
two, the first 9 days of December, maybe first 7 days.
Right.
Give it another to package them.
Yeah.
Think about baking some cookies and then donating them, and it's just part of the flavor of the season.
Yes, that special family time. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Something else that I think is happening, and maybe between the two of us we'll be able to resolve it and describe. I know that we've got some locations where we're collecting some foods,
Yes.
some donations. What's your knowledge about it? Do we have something that was down in the cafe area?
Yes, down in front of the cafe, you'll see a box there. So we are collecting items for Thanksgiving type items that are non-perishable. So if you would, care to donate any of those things, you can place them in that box for team members.
Good. And we're doing we have another box, sort of a collection area in the back of the house. So again, as you said, Candace, what we've done over the last couple years has been to collect some food. We'll have it for that Thanksgiving meal. Our directors who know their team members and those who maybe have a little bit of a challenge, could be that single parent, could be a spouse or someone out of work or a medical issue. How could we help them around Thanksgiving? And so we'll collect the foods. We'll make it available to the people we identify. Of course, if we have in excess, they'll be going to the food pantry, and we'll make that donation locally. But it should just work to be, again, one more area, one more way we help our team members, which to me is all about promoting family and promoting retention. So,
Definitely.
so good to do.
Yeah.
So that's one happening. Other things that you're planning.
We have a lot this week. So we're kicking off the week with our foundation breakfast.
Yes.
That's happening. That starts at 6:30 a.m., bright-eyed and ready to go.
Yeah, so hopefully if you're watching this after Monday morning, you
Right.
participated.
Yes.
Travers Mayhew and I will be making the most scrumptious, fluffy pancakes ever.
Yeah, can't beat a good breakfast.
It
It's
is
like
my
a
favorite
comfort food.
It is for me, absolutely.
Yes. On Monday as well, we're doing Broadway at the Ferguson. We have Anastasia. That's at 6:45 p.m., leaving from the Hampton entrance. Tuesday is going to be voting. So that's voting day. So we have 3 different times that folks will be shuttled over to Saunders Elementary down the road. So those times are going to be 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and then 1 p.m. So any of those times you want to gather at the Hampton entrance, we'll be taking folks over there. Make sure we cover that. Wednesday, we're doing a campfire. So we're going to be doing this in the Newport Courtyard. I'm super excited because this is something I've been thinking about and wanted to figure out a way we can do this. So Tiffany and I and Doug, we've worked together to make sure everything's going to be safe and we've got the right spot. We're not going to interfere with the grass and all of that good stuff. So we're going to have a campfire out there. I've been working with Julian. We're going to have s'mores.
Okay.
So s'mores are going to be out there. And then we also have entertainment. So Larry Heatwall has been here before. He's going to do a little bit of acoustic guitar, kind of like a background. I'm going to have hay bales out there, and we're just going to really have fun. I'm excited for that one.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
good.
And we're going to have plenty of spotlights, too. So folks might say it's going to be too dark out there. I don't want anybody falling. Things will be lit. So we've thought of everything.
And what evening is that?
That's Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So Newport Courtyard, we're going to do it from 6 to 8 p.m. So I know folks finishing up with dinner, so we've really covered that, long period of time. So we'll just be out there and come out and socialize, and it'll be fun, something different.
Great.
Yeah. Thursday, 7:30, we have Lyle and Linda in the Chesapeake Room. And then Friday, we're doing kind of a unique opportunity here. So I've partnered with the Peninsula Rescue Mission down in downtown Newport News near Shipyard. So we're doing 2 dates of this in November, but this is our first one that we're doing that's on Veterans Day. Me and about 6 other residents are going to be going to the shelter, and we're going to be packaging up things for the men who are there for Thanksgiving. So I've got a small group of residents we're going, and we're going to be boxing up things and sorting through different types of food to kind of give back to the community.
Very nice. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, and that's
So-
one of those social accountability things that you can check off and
Most
add and document.
definitely.
So very
and it
nice.
feels nice, especially this time of year, to just help those in need.
Yeah.
And then it's Veterans Day, so we have our Veterans program at 2 p.m. So we've been doing lots and lots of planning. Jim Lewis and I have been working together almost every day, just narrowing down all of our details. And we've really put a lot of time and energy into this year's program. Jim has put together an amazing PowerPoint presentation. It's going to be really well done. So I'm looking forward to that.
Great.
Yeah.
So it's sort of the most fascinating week because Uve Spiritual Life Committee started the week
Right.
with the Memorial Remembrance Service.
That is right, yes.
Nice annual remembrance, and I think 42 individuals that we really recognized and remembered. And then have Veterans Week at the end of the week.
Perfect.
Wow, just a lot of
Yeah.
appropriate.
Reflection. And
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
So
those
it's
are good things.
jam-packed.
So that's a busy week. I would concur. A lot of exciting things and new
Most
things.
definitely.
Way to go with the
Yeah.
bonfire, and that will
I'm
be
excited.
delightful. Yeah.
We have our fire extinguisher out there. We've thought of absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Good. That sounds great. So last week, I think you and Isaiah, I remember you guys did a show, did you?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Brain Teaser, you introduced the question last week?
Yeah, so last week's was kind of corny, but I really liked this one, and it was really cute hearing the residents' responses to this one. So the brain teaser last week was a zombie, a mummy, and a ghost bought a house. It has all the usual rooms except one. What room won't you find? You know the answer? It's a living room. So that one was cute. It was corny, but that was a cute one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so that
Okay.
was last
Yeah.
week's. All right, so this week, what two things did the Mayflower bring in November that the Native Americans did not want? What two things did the Mayflower bring in November that the Native Americans did not want? So let me know what you think that is.
Yeah.
I love getting the little phone calls where they just give me the answer. Like, last week was living room. That's all they would say. There's no other conversation.
Don't know who it is.
Like, okay.
That's good.
It's a lot of fun. Or an email that just says the answer. Either way, it's a lot of fun.
Good. Well, that's a good one. So that's a
Yeah.
good brain teaser. So, yeah, because I'm thinking about my time when I remember Captain Cook and stories about what they brought to Hawaii.
Right.
And that was different, but that was by ship. Okay.
This one's more thought-provoking.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a most exciting week for residents to enjoy, and I'm looking forward to that. I know I'm starting to think of my baking process, starting to accumulate the rest of my ingredients for pies.
Yes.
And my sister Terry, who is my oldest sister, she's always loved baking, cooking,
Okay.
and she's going to come and be with us.
fun.
So residents, you'll be able to see her on Tuesday. She's been here at the community before, but
great.
she's she looks like she's my younger sister, but she is my oldest sister.
Oh, okay.
And she's won 7 kids. 4 of them were
wow.
on the Amazing Race
Oh
and
my
won it.
gosh.
So she has a very fascinating
Yeah,
life.
sounds like it.
But that's Sister Terry. So yeah, Vera and I, my sister Terry, will all be your hostesses for that Pie Social on November 22nd. So
Oh, yeah.
a little advertisement for that too.
Oh, residents are getting excited about that. That was one of the key things they were looking for in the connections. So.
We'll make
It's
sure
important,
it happens.
For
Good.
sure.
All righty. Well, we're going to have a special interview, so get to know one of our own residents, and you'll be amazed at the travel and other stories that you're going to hear. So we'll get
definitely.
more into that.
Yeah.
But until next time, have a great week, and thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Hello and welcome back to Chesapeake Today. It's that time of the program that we have that special interview with one of our own residents. And today it's my privilege to have Betty Goff with me. Betty, how are you?
I'm doing fine. And you, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Oh, good.
Well, Betty, appreciate your time today. And it's fun just having these conversations. And more importantly, I think residents enjoy watching it. And I always start out with residents just saying, hey, a little bit about your background. Where are you originally from? What would you like folks to know about you?
I am originally from Poquoson, Virginia. My generations go many, many, many years. I knew my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and everybody in Poquoson lived in one little waterfront area. Not like you see it today.
So we're like going 1800s, 1700s?
18 at least.
Okay.
Maybe others, but I didn't know anyone
Yeah.
later than in the 1800s. My
Okay.
grandfather was a waterman. My great-grandfather was just at home as an older man when I met him. My other grandfather had one of the general stores and delivered groceries in his Chevrolet.
Chevrolet. Okay.
And
All right. So educate me a little bit because I'm not from the area. What does waterman mean?
My grandfather made his daily living or his livelihood in, well, first he started out running watermelons on his boat from Old Point
Yeah.
to Baltimore. And then would come back with whatever they had for him to bring back. After that petered out, then he started with clamming, crabbing, oystering, fishing. I didn't know what anything was to eat if it didn't come from the river.
Yeah.
He did it all. And then we had a family garden that we had one mule for 3 families, but we grew up with hogs and chickens and pigs and
And the mule was used to pull a plow, or what did the mule do?
pulled the plow in the gardens.
Okay, so that was definitely a good-sized garden. So,
Well, it was 4 or 5 families in one.
absolutely. So, hearing that, then, what a delightful upbringing to have fresh produce, all the things that you're able to get from the ground, the fishing, and basically harvesting from the river, the ocean. Wow, that's pretty fresh food eating.
Right.
Good. So, with your parents, then, did you have brothers and sisters?
I have one brother.
Okay.
My mother and father have lived in Bocosin, as I said, all their life, on Bocosin Avenue. My father went to work at the shipyard.
Okay.
My mother was a homemaker until NASA opened up, and she went to work as a computer,
Okay.
which it ended up being mathematician.
Yeah.
And she would plot the missiles as they would come in. So my family, my mother and father, both were workers, big workers. I have one brother, he's 11 years younger, and he's in Mississippi with his family.
Okay. So you stayed in the area. You're here,
You all right?
and that's it. So your high school then was Poquoson High School, or what was the high school you went to?
Bocosin High School and
Yeah.
Bocosin Elementary School were on the same campus.
Okay.
I went for that for 12 years. I had the same principal all 12 years, and my mother would know what I did before I got home, as all of us have talked about that.
Yeah.
And his family are still living in Bocosin.
Okay.
I went to Longwood for 1 year,
Okay.
and then I met the gentleman that would become my husband, and
right.
that kind of ended my college.
And so where was he from?
Mississippi,
Okay.
but he was in the Air Force.
Okay.
So I had been with one fella for a good many years before he came in and booted him out. So then I ended up, and he was Air Force. And our military career was not like most. We had 3 years in Alaska during the earthquake, and then we came back to Illinois. And from Illinois, we ended back in Virginia in Bocosin, which is where we ended up as family, and I stayed in my house after he passed away for a good many years, and then I downsized to Yorktown, and then I downsized to the Chesapeake.
Okay. So children?
I have one son.
Okay.
He's a NASA computer engineer.
Okay.
He has 2 children. My granddaughter is 22 and was married a year ago.
Congratulations to you and her.
And, yeah, a lovely lady.
Yeah.
And she cooked for 10 people after she had been married for 1 month. She cooked the family Thanksgiving dinner last year and did a marvelous job.
Now, were you one of her mentors?
Yes, I was.
So
Yep.
she probably got some good cooking from you and others.
Her
then.
mother mainly, but
Okay.
yes. And then I have a grandson. He's 28.
Okay.
He comes here once a week, and he has hot dogs and Kraft mac and cheese.
Okay.
That's his main menu.
All right. And that's what you're preparing for him?
I had it today at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I did. And he works in Williamsburg. He drives back and forth, but he's still living home and probably will live home.
And then with your son's work, it sounds like he's local too.
He is local.
His kids, so it's nice having that nucleus here
Right.
for you. Okay.
Now, my daughter-in-law has dysautonomia. That's a disease that comes under the umbrella of everything else that they don't know where else to put it. It started off with aching joints. We thought it was arthritis. For about 10 years, they did not know exactly what it was. And she and my son hit all the main hospitals on the East Coast with their doctors' permission, sending them where to go. And she finally ended up at Vanderbilt, where she got the information that she needed. And she has been teaching ever since my grandson was born. And she teaches in a wheelchair.
Okay.
She's a reading teacher.
Okay.
And they both plan to retire in June of, I'm not sure whether it's June of this year or June of next year, because I don't want them to retire. They're too young.
Yeah. It makes us start to feel a little different.
Right.
I think the same thing when I hear about what my kids are doing. It's like, are you old enough to? Yeah, your daughter is. Yeah.
Yep.
It helps us to comprehend
That's
age.
right. That's right.
Okay. So fascinating. And so between brother and Mississippi, and then of course your kids here, you've got it. And if, I always will say, you and a few of my other residents always just distinctively think about this Virginia accent.
Oh,
And you've got it.
I do, and I only have it topped off with the Bull Island drawl.
Ah.
We had our own little speaking way when I was a child.
Okay.
We put the letter R on everything.
Yeah.
And it's been hard to break, and I still do it more than some.
And you say Bull Island Draw?
Because we were known as the Bull Islanders, as school, that's our school name. Now
Okay.
we are the Islanders.
All right.
But my little community was very close cut, I should say very close together. And everybody knew everyone. Everyone was more than likely related to everyone. We didn't have a stoplight. We only went for groceries probably on Saturdays. We had the little bridge in Bocosin that, especially the military knew, don't cross that bridge. And it really is, that was just went along with it. But it's the little bridge. Now, of course, we have several stoplights and we have several ways in and out of Bocosin.
Yeah.
It has grown. Our school now is very well known for the type of school that we have. It's very highly rated
Yeah.
in the city and in the state.
So during your upbringing, did you have any big storms, any memories of hurricanes?
We had storms and we had hurricanes. Not as bad as Katrina,
Okay.
but we knew they were coming. Our land was still, so they weren't as bad as we hear of hurricanes today. Our land has flattened out. We've had gardens. Things have changed. But the hurricanes we had were not as destructive. Now, there was one, they call it the August storm, and I think it was in 33 that went through there that was very destructive. That was before my time.
Yeah.
But, I think it was pretty destructive. But the ones that I knew were not bad at all.
Okay.
They were just hurricanes.
Very good. So over the years, past, perhaps present, hobbies. What are some hobbies and interests that you have?
Anything and everything, basically. But I graduated from high school one Thursday, and I left for Europe, Asia, and the Middle East 1 week later.
Did you really?
And I traveled for 4 months with my uncle. And it took 8 days to cross the Atlantic. The cruise ship is not at all like we see today. It was more like a military ship. I was in a room with 4 other ladies, and I had to climb on the bunk. And we had a sink in there in the community bathroom. And my uncle and his family were the rest of the way down the hall. That started my traveling, and I haven't stopped.
Very fine. So that's pretty impressive beginning to have that type of experience right out of high school.
Right.
So any places yet on your bucket list to visit?
Yes. I hope next summer to go up the Adriatic to Corsica and that part of the world. I love the rodeos, so I want to go to at least one more rodeo. I've been to the one up in Canada.
Okay.
And I have on my checklist, I want to go back to Cambodia I want to go to Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
If I'm pronouncing that, I think I pronounced that correctly.
I know exactly the spot. It has those most. I just think of the temple, the statues and architecture, and the rainforest around it.
Right, the
That's what-
Hindu, the
yeah.
Hindu temple.
Is that it? Okay.
And the Buddhist, and it's just been rediscovered because for many years it was covered in vines, and they knew it was there, but I don't know how few years ago, but it has just been cleaned up to where you can now go, and there are a few tours that will get you there now.
Yeah, and the previous one you said Adriatic, so you
Adriatic.
So Aegean and Adriatic seas there in the Mediterranean.
Yes,
Okay.
through
and-
Greece.
Very fine. So that's probably an area I've traveled most with my wife being from Albania. So we've skipped many times between Greece, Albania, Montenegro, Croatia, popped up to Hungary, across the Czech Republic.
Right.
I've flown in and out of Slovenia, but never explored it yet. And all those Baltic region countries, they're beautiful, safe. Obviously, very different
Right.
from when they once, many of them were communism or
yes.
part of the old Romania,
Right.
Yugoslavia, all those words. So, no, it is a very special place. But Cambodia, it's one I've never been to. So, for you, it'd be a repeat then.
Right.
Okay.
A friend and I took a 30-day cruise, which was the first one that opened up. I guess it was maybe 10 years ago now, but it was one that took us through Vietnam, and Bangkok, Japan,
Yeah.
China, and all in that particular area. And I loved it. I love it because it's different.
Yeah.
I spent several months in Southeast Asia. I shouldn't say, really, I spent several months. It was that particular cruise, that month.
Yeah.
But it was plenty of time in Vietnam to where I'd like to go back. I did not see Angkor Wat at the time. I want to go back. But that part of the world fascinates me, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful country.
Yeah. Just some of the pictures in my mind, and I think about, sometimes it's movies that take us to places. Happened to, between James Bond, love that, and I have some that have been filmed in Thailand and the waterways, and just gorgeous. The rock formation, mushroom almost look like,
Right.
and it just sort of borders that whole area. So fascinating. So do you have a travel partner? Do you if family members, granddaughter, or who are you?
I'm most time by myself.
Okay.
When I was first traveling, after I came back from my first trip, I went to work and was married, had family, and I lost my husband. And so then I started traveling with a group of 6 to 8.
Okay.
And we went to a lot of the places on these gorgeous cruise ships. They're beautiful, they're big, they're everything. But I've broken away a little bit. I like these little cruise ships, so like 50 or 60, 70 people, because you go into smaller little ports. But I've always had a trip in mind and somewhere I want to go, something I want to see. And I find something I want that I want to know more about, that I want to read about. And then I work my trip backwards
Good for you.
from that particular point.
I don't think I'm as studious as I should be. I do enjoy the travel. This past year, we went to Portugal, Spain, and some other things. And I did some research, but I don't think as intently as I'm going to in the future. I really, there's so much that you can enrich that visit by understanding much more before you arrive. And so I think that's going to be on my next to-do.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I try to keep pretty much up on places of interest that I am interested in.
Yeah.
For example, after the COVID, we finally are able to travel. So this particular July, I went to see Colorado, and my neighbor is Carolyn Caddy. And so in talking with her one day, she whet my appetite. So she went when the aspens were pretty, which I didn't get to go because I went in the fall. But I rode on 6 trains in the state of Colorado with the main thrill to go up to Pikes Peak, to 14,000 some feet. And we went on the COG train, which has just reopened in May of this year. And then 6 weeks later, I hit another of my bucket list, and
Yeah.
I went out to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay, think I know it's coming.
And with that one, 2 weeks before I'm about to leave, my girlfriend calls and says, I'm going with you. I said, okay. I did not know it at that point, which was good. We had a nice trip. But we went out to Albuquerque. We were there for a week, and I had made prior arrangements, and I flew in a hot air balloon at the Hot Air Balloon Festival in Albuquerque.
Now, that festival, I've seen pictures of it. I mean, unbelievable. The colors, the whole geometry of all those balloons. So that had to be quite a moment.
It was over 400 that were going to fly that day.
Yeah.
Now it was a wonderful time for me, but it was bad for the festival because most of the days were rainy or windy,
Yeah.
and to my knowledge, only about about 2 days is all through the whole thing that we flew, because I went into the flyers breakfast, so I got to meet the crew and the person that was going to fly. You're talking about a big breakfast. It was one of the largest breakfasts and decorated I've ever seen. It was raining cats and dogs, so we wondered if we were going to get to fly. But we did. Of course, we were walking in water in our ankles because they have no way for it to drain.
Yeah.
And so we went out, but we got in our basket, and we were able to fly. But most of the flights that week were canceled, and I've talked to someone, Candace's mother has talked to someone, I believe, that her trip was canceled.
Okay.
But I was able to fly. We went up 3,000 feet. We were up there for over an hour, and we had the chaser under us, and we ended up in a reservation. So,
And it is, I've been to Albuquerque. You know, you're flying and landing on that airport. It's sort of on a plateau. The city is down here, river going through it, a little bit of green.
a little bit.
A little bit. Beautiful area, but from the sky, 3,000 feet.
It was
Air
wonderful.
feel different sitting in that basket?
No,
breathing?
it didn't. But I think I was accustomed to it because of my 6 weeks prior trip to Colorado.
Yeah.
That my breathing and all
Yeah.
was good. I didn't have any problem at all.
Yeah. So while in Albuquerque, did you have any of the Mexican food?
Yes and no. My girlfriend wasn't as up to Mexican food as I am. It's my favorite,
Yeah.
but she was not that much up on it. So I ate some,
Yeah.
but not like the Mexican food I get in Mexico.
Yeah. It is very different in Albuquerque, and the thing that I was surprised about was how important chilies are.
Oh my gosh.
And did you ever order? Did they ask you about what do you call red and green chilies? You basically say, I want them Christmas.
Oh,
If you tell a server Christmas, they're going to put on your plate red and green chilies.
we asked for the red and green to put separate.
Okay.
But I did take a chance of having a chili margarita.
Aha. A little spicy?
Very.
Yeah. Well, they just want you to be thirsty and drink
No.
more.
Well, as Candace probably knows, I'll try most anything
Yeah.
at least once.
Yeah.
That was my one try. I don't think I will try that one again.
It's okay. I commend you for being adventuresome. And I mean, what wonderful travels. And so when are you going to do a travel log? When do you have some? You got pictures to share, don't you?
No, I don't take pictures.
You don't take pictures.
No.
Okay.
They're for memories for me, and I've got a closet full of pictures.
Yeah.
No one ever looks at them, you
Yeah.
know. It's not like we go and sit down and look, because now we have television, and now we have our cameras, and now we have everything, and we take
Just
them as we
back to
go.
that. Oh, fascinating. That is a really interesting thought process, because I remember my father. He was of the vintage when he would take the 8mm movies, and then it became Super 8. But still, I mean, it's just a 25-foot reel of film. No sound, just taking that. And it was from early ones were black and white, then became color. 70 reels of film spliced together. So each 70 was 250 feet. And they exist today. And occasionally, my sisters and I will go back and look at them. And I just think of that hobby of my father creating all those movies, all that footage. And of course, we thought about digital, and I think my sister has put some of them digital in other media. But no, I sometimes wonder with how many pictures I've taken, when do I just stop and just enjoy what I'm seeing. Because some people get so caught up in the pictures, they miss the opportunity.
I think that's very true. And at the Balloon Festival, I asked that one picture be taken of me, and that was because I stood in front of my balloon. I was going in, and it said checklist.
Yeah.
But there's no way you can get a picture of all of that. There were 400 balloons going up that day.
Yeah.
And that was just too beautiful for words. You can't, and here you're up in there, and you're looking all around at these balloons all around you, and they're just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I found a jigsaw, a puzzle, I called it, and brought it to my son. I said, "There's no way I can take a picture." But that was
what it reminded you of. Wonderful. Well, Betty, I admire your travel. I feel like I'm just a rookie when it comes to travel, hearing of all of your experiences, but I marvel at it with you. Good to get to know you even better. I remember us visiting when you moved in and had a delightful time then, but just learning more about you. I think residents enjoy hearing about you, and some already know you very well because you're so friendly. But really appreciate you being on the show today, and thank you for this time.
Yeah, good to be here. Nice to be with you.
Okay, well, that's another interview, another most interesting resident, Betty Goff. And until next time, have a great week.